Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm trying to recreate this photograph I took about 4 to 5 years ago on star trails. It's of the Natchez Trace Bridge near Nashville, Tennessee, with circular star trails behind it. It's gonna be quite the cold adventure. All right, so we're heading out at night. The moon rises at about like 1 o'clock a.m. It's about 10 o'clock p.m. right now. So we have plenty of time before the moon rises and starts occluding some of those stars in the sky with the light that it will project over the night sky. So we have plenty of time before we actually have to like wrap up our shooting. So I'm not really worried about time at this point, but overall, I am slightly worried about the amount of ambient light that's projected out across the sky. Luckily, we had storms that rolled through this afternoon. It was actually snowing. It was like 75 degrees yesterday. Today, it was about 32 and snowing. It's just that Nashville weather that's so back and forth and unpredictable. But overall, we have really good weather tonight for this shoot for star trails. I like shooting star trails when it's really cold, just because maybe I like to put myself through torturous situations, but it's like really crisp outside and it gives you the ability to see nicely through the night sky, and there's no like haziness around in the sky or nothing like that. So it gives you the ability to see a lot of the stars really clearly without all of maybe like summer or spring fog or haziness or dew that's coming through the humidity here, because it's really humid in Tennessee a lot of times in spring and summer. So you do get a break from that when you have these cold snaps. And with clear skies, obviously you want to see the most amount of stars as possible when you're going out to shoot. So we have a really good conditions tonight. And I wanted to recreate this photograph specifically just because if you look closely in the photograph, you can see some breaks in the star trails that we had when I was shooting this. It was actually the first star trail photograph that I actually went out and tried and shot. It's been several years since then, and I've shot many other star trail photographs, but I've always come back to this one just because I love the Natchez Trace. It's a really nice federal highway that runs from Nashville to Natchez, Mississippi. It's just really cool in the spring and in the fall when you get all the spring and fall colors. It's a really neat road. It's really close by our tiny house that we have. So really excited that, you know, this opportunity is so close. And the bridge that we're actually shooting tonight is an architecturally award-winning bridge that has really cool archways that go across the road underneath, and with pairing it with like northerly stars and the path of northerly stars. Those northerly stars make circular patterns, and with circular patterns right around an archway, it's really cool to see those two shapes pairing together to create like a cool night photograph that you can go out and shoot. You know, you can find night photographs like really close to you, even if you live fairly close to the city. Like I probably live about 30 minutes away from downtown Nashville, where there's a lot of ambient light, a lot of, you know, light pollution that comes off the city. But overall, you can find areas close to cities that you can actually shoot at night if you know where to look. And there's actually a website that I use called Dark Site Finder. I'll link it below in the video description. But Dark Site Finder is really good. It's how I found this spot. And I've been coming to the spot for like sunrises and sunsets for years. I just never really thought of it as a cool night photo destination. So we're trying to make some star trails tonight and see how those turn out. So excited about tonight's shoot. It's about 5 years in the making. Wanted to get back there for a long time because I kind of screwed up the first one with a lot of breaks in the star trails, with stop and go on the star trail pathways. So we're gonna set up, we're gonna do it properly tonight. It's gonna look pretty sweet. I can feel it. Alright, so before I came out here, I really thought about doing some really cool B-roll and some techniques that I've been working on with video and stuff like that. Did not think that I'd be shooting at night, and I don't know how to shoot B-roll at night, so if any of the B-roll so far has been really dark, I apologize. I'll try to limit that since it's not looking, who knows how it looks at this point. Just one of the challenges at night, I guess. But just run through the settings. I just started the process of shooting these star trails, and I'll just run through how I set it up. So yeah, I mean, you can't see the bridge at all right now, even with the naked eye. I just saw how it looked just by taking test shots with the camera and seeing how it might look in a photograph. So I have the bridge running across the bottom of the frame, and I'll put up like one of the test shots right now on the screen. Bridge running across the bottom of the frame. We have the camera facing directly north so that we get circular star trails. One of the things I didn't get in the last time I tried this photograph was getting the camera set directly north, because I didn't really understand like star paths and all that. And this time I face it directly north so I could get circular star paths right over the archways of that bridge, so I can get circles on circles for that good composition, framing, and multiple shapes in a photograph. Multiples of the same shapes, I should say. And then for settings, since we're in an ambient light situation and facing north actually faces towards the city, I had to watch how much exposure time I was using. So I started at 30 seconds, it's too much ambient light, dialed it down to 20 seconds, too much light, dialed it down to 13 seconds, and it was good. It was what I wanted. And I also didn't want a lot of noise in the photographs too, so I used a lower ISO of 800. So right now I'm at 13 seconds, ISO 800, and I'm using an f2 lens, so I have a really wide aperture to bring in a lot of light. And I'm actually using a Pluto cable release that attaches on top of your camera to the hot shoe, and then if your hot shoe doesn't have a connector, it actually runs a connecting wire to your camera to do like time lapses or star trail photographs. And right now I'm shooting at 13 seconds with a 3-second interval in between. So every time it shoots a photograph, it shoots for 13 seconds, takes 3 seconds off, and then restarts another photograph. And that just ensures like you're getting a good 13-second photograph of the stars and getting like what looks like pinpoint stars, and then you get a 3-second off interval, which is short enough time that you don't see gaps in between the stars. So you shoot for 13 seconds, 3-second break, and then takes another 13-second photograph. So you can like tie all the photographs together in post-processing when we merge all these in Photoshop later, which we'll get to in just a second. But right now all the settings look really good. It's still really cold. One of the challenges about shooting star trails specifically is like you can't see anything, and one of the biggest challenges I find, but also one of the reasons that I love it so much, is that you can't see how it's going to look while you're shooting it. You can't like, you can envision how it's going to turn out, but you can't see it. You can't see that progress. But when you think about like how it's going to turn out, and when you merge that photograph, when the result matches how you envision the photograph to look, it's amazing. And that's one of the reasons that I love star trail photography, is like sometimes you swing and you miss, and like you just got to go into it knowing that. But sometimes you hit a home run and you just get this amazing visual that matches what you visualized in your head, but now you have it physically. Now you see it, and now you realize all that work and all that planning to get this shot worked. It happened, it lined up, everything went perfect. I'm hoping that's what we get tonight, since I've been waiting like 2 years to redo this photograph based on what I did a few years ago, and just really excited to shoot this again. Hello, how are you? Yes, sir.
Saw your car parked there. What's going on with you?
I'm taking photos.
Hey, what are you taking pictures of? Just the sky or what?
Yeah, I'm doing some star trails.
Technically, the park's closed after dark, but I mean, you're okay.
Okay.
You just stargazing.
Yeah. I got you. Sorry about that.
Well, no, I hope we didn't interrupt your star thing.
Sorry, didn't mean to have that interruption. The cops showed up because I was out here. I don't know, I've never had that happen before. I'm so out here in the middle of nowhere. But one of the things about like this photo specifically is like, you have this bridge and it's dark and we're shooting at only 13 seconds and you're like, well, how am I actually gonna see the bridge? Because it's 13 seconds, it's, you know, you have some lighting on it just with ambient lighting, but how are you gonna really see it? And I thought about that, and it just so happens that the road underneath the bridge is pretty busy. So I thought that every time a car drives under the bridge, what happens is the headlights shine on the bridge itself. You're basically getting light painting on the bridge. Every time a car drives under, it paints the bridge with light from their headlights. They move on, and once we stack all these together, it's going to bring in that light from individual photographs, but in the stack it's going to illuminate the bridge really nicely. And that's one of the cool reasons like light painting is interesting, is you can use it in those foregrounds or in features of the night photography that you can actually see things that you normally wouldn't see. I think the star trail shoot should be just about over if the timer's correct. So I'm just gonna go check and make sure it's all right. Then after that, I'm gonna throw it over to the computer screen and show you how to stack them all together. Now I'm a little worried about this one specifically. Just while I was sitting in the car, there's just so much ambient light northward towards the city, exactly where we're shooting. So I'm just a little worried about it, see if it's actually gonna come together in post-processing. You just never know. So let's go ahead and throw it over to the computer screen, see what we got, see what we can do with it. All right, so just real quickly how we do this in Lightroom and line these photographs up and create star trails. But this is basically what your photographs are gonna look like when you bring them in. And you just click on your first image, scroll all the way down to the last one in the sequence. I'm just gonna hold Shift and click, and I'm going to go to right click, edit in, and open as layers in Photoshop. Once those are loaded into Photoshop, this is what it's gonna look like. All you have to do to reveal those star trails is select the first image in the sequence, go all the way down and hold down your Shift key, select the last image you want in this, and then you go to your blending options. It'll probably be set to normal as the default, and go to lighten, and boom, we have our star trails. So this is kind of funny. This earlier in the video, the cops came by and paid me a visit and wanted to see what I was up to. This is actually their flashlight that was shining right here on the photograph. So we can actually see like even inadvertent light that shined is actually going to show up in these star trails. You can remove that if you want. Just find the specific layers that those are on and click this little eyeball next to them, so you can just find these where that extra light's showing up and take that out. But I thought that was pretty funny that their flashlight showed up in the star trail. Give me some warm memories from this shoot. But that's basically how you do it and how we create these star trails. I'm really happy with how this photograph turned out, and glad you could come along for the ride on this star trail shoot, just because star trails are so cool, and this is exactly how I envisioned it looking. Based on the mistakes I made last time, I went back and recreated this, and even if you mess up a photograph, you can always return to a location and improve that photograph, improve the composition, improve what you shot as you learn new skills going through your photography progression to be a better photographer.